Yeah, I think it's a position that we might have seen ourselves in before. Last season we had some good productivity up top, but a lot of the things were things created out of nothing. I think it's just us finding our stride and also having to deal with other teams now understanding, where our strengths are and having ample time to kind of adjust for that. So it's just something that obviously is tough. 3 games in, 2 goals, 2 goals for. Last game was extra frustrating because we just know we can play to a higher level. But that is MLS. That is the season, and with 30 plus games left, I think we're gonna find our stride.
Go ahead, Drake. Then we'll go to Tim Sullivan.
CJ, when you came into this team, obviously with you joining Randall and Hani, there was a lot of fluidity with you guys. It was almost like a weave, like a 3-man weave in a way. You guys had a lot of freedom in terms of where you guys combined. It's been a little more straightforward, at least to my impression, in terms of how you guys go and attack. It's usually more you and Hani up front as a 2, and then Randall coming in behind. How do you compare and contrast the way you guys have attacked since you've come here? And maybe do you see that changing, going back to that more freedom of you guys being a 3? Or is it something more than just tactically? Maybe it's just obviously that being a 1-game duke against Dallas.
Yeah, no, I think the difference is one, we got a different formation last game. I think with the depth that we have in the midfield, we're able to, put in an extra guy in the midfield and essentially give our midfielders an opportunity to create some chances for us as well. I think last year with something that there was fluidity there, but there was also kind of all right, we have to create something. So maybe a little bit more risk taking. Whereas I think this season we're more in a position to be more well balanced, and once we can nail down that structure and everybody is the new guys are starting to understand the system, I think we'll be able to have productive output up top and a more defined attacking style, if you will.
We'll go to Tim Sullivan, then Ben Wright. Go ahead, Tim.
CJ, when you look at, I guess, what you guys kind of pictured this road trip being before the season, you've kind of probably already experienced about as high as it can get with that win over Seattle. Maybe not the lowest it can get with the loss last weekend, but maybe a little bit lower. How do you ride the wave without having any games at home to kind of collect yourselves and go back and come back with a fresh mental outlook?
Yeah, I mean, every individual is different, but collectively it's keeping a positive mindset and willing to come in, at the beginning of the week and look at the things that didn't work and, start implementing the things that we feel like will work in training that week. So it's a process for sure. But from being in this position before my rookie year with Kansas City, there's a mental toughness that you're able to curate amongst a group. And then there's also an understanding that there's going to be adversity, right? And with that, you have an opportunity to, okay, this is going to be tough, right? This is not going to be anything that we can really draw up and be 100% prepared for. But in the moment, our response is all that we can really control. So, and again, this is a perfect group for that. Probably the best group I've been a part of in my 12 years. And I'm just looking forward to the story aspect of overcoming all this adversity and then coming home and making it fun.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, CJ, last week we saw Valkyrie Investments join Nashville, and I believe they were the first partnership in MLS to do it entirely in Bitcoin. You're obviously kind of involved in that space anyway, but what did you make of that, and are things like that something that you're hoping to get involved in at some point in the future?
Yeah, I mean, building off of what I just said with the soccer, you have an opportunity in this organization where throughout every department you have people that are looking to get better every day. You have people that are trying to, look at a different way to do things. And through that, I think already within the 2 years Nashville has been MLS 30 year now, we're pioneers, man. And with the way the city's booming, and I mean, the geopolitical issues, right? You don't need to get too deep into that, but having alternative opportunities to invest, to open up the various channels to commerce that are there just might not be, fully visible. And I think a sponsorship like the one with Valkyrie allows an opportunity for fans to get educated on alternative investment vehicles that are out there, but also as a organization, as a city, we can be a pioneer that I believe in time to come we'll look back and say, wow, like they were ahead of the curve, and we'll have a strong foundation moving forward.
Thank you, CJ. We'll wrap up today with Claudio Villalobos and Tim Sullivan. Go ahead, Claudio.
CJ, you ended up last season right in the highway in terms of the performance. And even up to preseason and these 3 games, it seems like you're still up there. How do you explain that? I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy. A full season and preseason and 3 games. Mm-hmm. How do you explain that performance on your side?
Man, my own personal modalities of staying centered and grounded. Family does a lot for me, especially as of late, getting to watch my little ones grow up. But the environment of Nashville, the environment of the organization, my teammates, again, there's just continuous reminders of how to get better, and then there's continuous support. There's a lot of, with us being a new club, we haven't accomplished anything yet. So there's still a lot of hunger. And these are the type of concepts, values, energies that maximize my own potential. And I still don't feel like I've even reached the peak. So I'm every day waking up feeling very thankful for being here, and excited to work with my teammates and my staff, and also excited to, interact with the fan base and, see what we can really create here in Nashville. And I feel like there's the rumblings of a dynasty and a smooth organization with a great city behind it, a great fan base. Those are things that a lot of players in our league and professional athletes in general pray for. So for me to get it at this point in my career, it's very humbling, and I'm just counting the blessings, man.
Love that. Tim Sullivan, we'll wrap up with you, my man.
I like the commentary, man.
Yeah, sorry, that was inadvertent.
CJ, especially late last year, you, Hani, and Randall really built something special chemistry-wise and kind of that front three. How is that developing at this early stage of 2022? And then going forward, obviously, all 3 of you guys are not going to play every competitive minute this year. How's your chemistry developing with maybe some of the other guys on the training ground for when either you need to sub or some of these other guys need subs?
Well, yeah, that's a good point that you make, because what I've recognized is with the depth on this team, obviously me, Randall, Hani, we get a lot of exposure, we get a lot of attention because what we did last season. But ultimately, there's quite an extensive group. There's a depth to this team that I feel like for us to be successful is going to take everybody. And I'm interested to see, what partnerships prevail and show the most production. But ultimately, with me, Hani, Randall, we're coming in and training every day, and we're being pressured, and we're competing for our spots. And then there's guys in behind us that are, really taking in the things we're trying to implement and, trying to be ready when their number is called upon. So moving forward, we'll see what ultimately ends up being, the partnership that I guess you guys get to talk about. But what we see is the pushing of our maximum potential every day, and whether even if it ends up being me, Hani, and Randall again, is going to be in a large part due to the depth that we have and the competition that these guys are pushing every day.